From the end of the 19th century till about World War I, composers were devising new ways to speak musically within the classical tradition. Wagner and Strauss were taking tonality to its limits with ultrachromatic works. Schoenberg was developing a method to completely eradicate any tonal center and would eventually form a second Viennese school. While these composers were doing different things from the norm, they were still trying to stay within the classical tradition. When I say that, I mean they wanted their works to go down in history and stand next to the great works of the classical composers and early Romantic composers. There was another path being taken, though, by some, one in particular, Erik Satie. What he was doing falls more in the category of avant-garde. He and others sought to challenge and overthrow the concept of timeless classics. They weren't trying to establish any new classical tradition. They were writing and doing things that flew in the face of all of that. Erik Satie is the first prominent avant-garde composer. Over the course of about 40 years, Satie would make his unique mark in musical history, push music forward, and inspire a new generation of composers who could see the beauty and simplicity in minimalism. Satie was born in Honfleur, France, May 17, 1866. His musical life began at age 13. In November of 1879, his stepmother, Eugenie, enrolled him in a preparatory piano class at the Paris Conservatoire. He studied under Émile Decombe, and Satie hated his 7 years studying there. His teacher, Decombe, described him as the laziest student in the conservatory. He was a gifted pianist who was utterly lacking in motivation and was poor at sight reading. In late 1887, he was 21, Satie left home. While he was at home, his parents were trying to get him to follow their musical aspirations, but he wanted to begin his own independent career. So as soon as he moved out, he embraced a reckless bohemian lifestyle, grew out his hair, wore a long coat and top hat, and he eventually would name himself Erik Satie Gymnopedist. Spring 1888, a year later, he would complete his 3 Gymnopedies, his most famous works. In 1891, he met Debussy, and they would maintain a close relationship and friendship for about 25 years. The next 10 years or so, Satie moved around a bit, earned an income playing cafe concerts. To backtrack a little bit, wanting to improve his technique, in 1905, October, he enrolled in the Scala Cantorum and earned a diploma in counterpoint in 1908, and he also took composition courses while he was there, and that was from between 1905 to 12. In January 1911, sort of a turning point for Satie. After years and years of just finding jobs to survive, a break came through when Maurice Ravel performed some of Satie's older works. And Satie, at that point, was finally seen for the impressionist forerunner that he was. A few months following that, Debussy conducted his orchestrations of the Gymnopedies. More work would be published and requested, despite their humorous titles. Something that puts Satie in the avant-garde title in the avant-garde category is that his piano pieces had surrealist titles. There's ones like Three Pieces in the Form of a Pear. There's another piece called Desiccated Embryos. In 1917, he writes the Parade Ballet, and the set and costumes were designed by Picasso. Around this time, Satie's career was revolving around the theater. This was his steady job. In 1920, the term furniture music first comes about. Satie wanted this music to be played during intermissions. This wasn't music to be listened to. It's like furniture in a room, it's just there. There's nothing special about it. In 1921, Satie joined the Communist Party and became involved with the Dada movement in Paris. Near the end of his life, he would complete 2 more ballets, Mercure and Relâche, both of which caused scandals the first nights they were premiered just due to onstage obscenities. All the years of drinking, Satie loved to drink, but it all eventually caught up with him, and he developed cirrhosis of the liver, hospitalized. In February of 1925, he would eventually pass away July 1st of that year in Paris.